Hey guys, and welcome into another video. Today we're going to be doing a kind of breakdown of my ESPN Fantasy League. It's a 10-person league. I'll go more into depth on what it is. If you guys are new to the channel, please be sure to subscribe if you do want to follow along with fantasy football content, NFL content, Madden content. Should be coming out probably tomorrow if I had to say so. I'm going to be doing a no money spent thing. I should be recording that tonight after I edit it and stuff. It really just depends. But yes, so make sure you turn on notifications, like, subscribe, do all that YouTube stuff, and we'll get on with the video. So anyway, we're going to be going through and looking at all of our league's teams. So it's a league with all my close friends. We've had this league going for, since I was probably a freshman in high school is when we had the league going. But we've started really caring about it probably 2016. Seems about right. So that's when it was really getting really crazy. So anyway, we do have an in-person draft. We do we did it here at my apartment this year. This is also, by the way, the last video you should see. With this background, unless I just decide to throw it up. But I need to finish building my little office in my apartment. Once I do that, we'll be able to have a better background and everything will kind of look a little bit better. But anyway, we're going to be going over our teams, just kind of showing you how a 10-team, it's a full PPR league, free agent budget. We do 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 receivers, 2 flex, tight end, defense, kicker, etc. We have a bunch of different ways of scoring and stuff like that as well. I'm not going to go through a whole video of how we set up our league. If you want to see that, let me know in the comment section below. I know a lot of people like my video about setting up a dynasty league on Sleeper. So let me know if you want to do that. But here we are on the ESPN, and this is my team. So obviously the names are going to be a little stupid because we are a goofy, fun group of friends. But so this is my team. This is where I'm at. We're going to kind of go over the team, talk about the owner, and basically go on through it. So for me, my biggest thing in my draft this year was, hey, I'm going to stockpile on running backs because I know that running backs are going to be a hot commodity. So we see here I have Drew Brees at quarterback, late round pick. Just kind of was waiting until the end to pick up a quarterback. I think it was my second to last pick. Derrick Henry and Mixon hold down the running back spots with Odell, DJ Shark, and T.Y. Hilton at the third receiver. Now, I actually just traded for T.Y. Hilton. I ended up flipping Mark Ingram for T.Y. Hilton, and I'll get to that in a second. Jared Cook at the tight end. We have Gurley and Deshaun Jackson in the starting lineup for week 1 with the 49ers defense, as well as Graham Gano at the kicker. And then on our bench, we have Jonathan Taylor, CeeDee Lamb, David Montgomery, Golden Tate, Antonio Gibson, Larry Fitzgerald, and Alan Lazard. Now, the reason why I obviously like my team, but I stockpile on running backs. You see here Antonio Gibson starting running back. David Montgomery is going to be a starting running back. Jonathan Taylor probably starting running back. Gurley, Mixon, Henry, all starting running backs. I also had Mark Ingram, and I said, hey, I went so running back heavy that, my third receiver was Deshaun Jackson, and I was A-okay with it because I figured I'll rotate Deshaun, Tate, Larry. I'll rotate them in and out until CeeDee Lamb breaks out, and then I'll start playing CeeDee. But now that I was able to flip Mark Ingram for T.Y. Hilton, because a lot of other players did not prioritize that running back market, I was able to flip him straight up for T.Y. Hilton. Now I have 3 really good receivers, a lot of really good running backs, and a really good team going into the season, and I hope for the best here. So overall, like I said, I really like my team. I don't really think there's a weak spot at all. I could get a better tight end, but Jared Cook's a pretty good tight end to have, especially with the stack with Drew Brees. I'll be looking at quarterbacks more, but overall, even the bench, I really like the bench. I think I have a good balance of young and veteran players to where it's going to be able to see progression, regression, whatever we need to do to figure out how to keep this team going into the playoffs. So we're going to go ahead and go over to the next We're going to go over to the next team, which is Josh's team. You guys have not met Josh yet on the channel, but he is one of the most overhyped players that we have. He loves his team every single year, and he hasn't been in the playoffs in a couple years. He was our first official league champion, which was cool for him, so he does have that to hold on to. But here we go. He's got Tom at quarterback with Dalvin Cook and Austin Eckler. I really like that 2 running back combo there, especially if Cook's playing. Cook's projected 21 points. This guy's an absolute beast, but him and Eckler, that's a really good stack. Then he goes on to Juju, A.J. Brown, and Devontae Parker. So he's really hoping on those guys breaking out because those are very big question marks there. Juju, can he bounce back? A.J. Brown, can he keep up the production that he had his rookie year? Devontae Parker, is he worth the money they paid him? A lot of question marks there. T.J. Hawkinson as well. He didn't really have a good rookie season. It's a lot of question marks. James Conner, another one where it's, hey, can he hold down that running back spot? A lot of people really like Benny Snell in Pittsburgh. So let's see if he can hold it on. And then obviously Edelman with no Tom Brady, it's going to be a question mark. But name value wise, he has a lot of good players. I told him in the draft, his team is such a high risk, high reward team where if they all hit, they're going to be a great team. He ends it with the Cowboys defense, who he really likes this year, and Ryan Suckup. He wanted the Tampa Bay kicker no matter what. His bench, not too strong. He does have Marvin Jones, which I really do like on his bench, Jordan Howard, Alexander Madison, Justin Jefferson, Indianapolis new receiver, Michael Pittman, and Cam Newton-Pollard. I like Pollard, obviously, because, when if Zeke goes down, Pollard's going to be a commodity. Cam is a good one to rotate in and out. Then a lot of young guys here, so we'll see how it pans out. His bench really isn't too strong, but that starting caliber roster is pretty solid. I don't think it's a very great team, but I think it is a solid middle-of-the-pack team at the moment. Obviously, things can go different ways depending on how the season goes, but that's kind of where I'm at right now. We'll go down to Tyler, who was our league champion 2 years ago. My brother, he has Patrick Mahomes. He always gets Mahomes. He got him in the second round this year. Last year, he took him in the first round. Alvin Kamara, Mark Ingram. He has the receivers of Evans, Kupp, and Fuller. A little bit of a question mark there with Fuller, but not too big. He just got rid of T.Y. Hilton for Ingram because he only had Swift and Kamara as his running backs. He really wanted to secure that running back spot, so that was a good trade for him. He has Mark Andrews at the tight end, very good tight end. Obviously, with Swift and Kirk in his flex, Vikings defense and Zane Gonzalez. Then on his bench, he's got Tevin Coleman, N'Keal Harry, Hunter Henry, Brandon Ayuk, Drew Lock, Chris, Chiefs defense, and Boston Scott. So the double defense stack is a little different, but I like the Boston Scott pickup. I think he's a very good backup to have right now. Ayuk is poised to have a great year with the injuries and everything that has happened with the receiver spot. N'Keal Harry as well has had a good relationship with Cam, so that's really good to see. Tevin Coleman you could throw in there ahead of Swift if you want. Different things you could do. Hunter Henry's a great tight end to have as well if Mark Andrews on a bad week. So, and a lot of these guys too are solid because you can drop them if you need to if somebody else becomes available. So I do like what he has on his team. Overall, pretty solid team. It's very top heavy. Evans, Ingram, Kamara, Mahomes, Kupp, Andrews, it's very top heavy there because then you really are adjusting with Fuller and Kirk and stuff like that. But it has everything you need in a team, especially when you have Mahomes, you never know what could happen. So going on over to our last year's league champion, Zach. He's got a good team. Judge Judy is the name. Dak Prescott, he ended up taking Clyde Edwards-Helaire and David Johnson at the running back spots, ending his receivers with Julio, McLaurin, and A.J. Green. So very, very good starting five right there, starting six even. Especially if A.J. Green stays healthy, which is huge for him. Zach Ertz poised to have a good year with the injuries in Philly. Chris Carson in his flex. That's really, really, really good to have Chris Carson that low in flex. I had him last year there. It was fun to see. Deontay Johnson's a good pickup as well with the Ravens defense and Robbie Gould. But then on his bench is really where it looks pretty solid. He picked up Samuel late. He has Hayden Hurst, who's a good tight end, to rotate with Ertz if he's not playing too well. Miller poised to be having a better year. Carry on in case Swift or AP are down. Jerry Jeudy is poised to break out as well. Obviously, he's one of the best rookies we've seen in a long time. So for him there, Rager and Wentz, of course. So a lot of these guys, he has a great starting lineup, which is good, and then he has a lot of young guys to where if they progress like Jerry Jeudy and let's say A.J. Green gets hurt again or Deontay Johnson isn't playing well or whatever, you could throw him in there and bam, you're fixed, So very good setup. It's very similar to what I was doing with my draft. A little different in draft capital and et cetera, but I do like what Zach put together for his team, so it's very good. There's not really going to be too many bad teams. We're going to get into one right now, actually, but in reality, we have a very smart league. A lot of us pay a lot of attention to the details, so this is a very one. So this is my boy Miller here. Didn't have the best draft, in my opinion. Josh Allen's his quarterback. He ended up with Josh Jacobs and Melvin Gordon as the running backs. I like those two running backs a lot. Devontae Adams was a great pick for him as well. 18 points as a receiver is crazy. With Thielen and Ridley, I really like his receiving core. He reached pretty high on Jonnu. I think Jonnu was his 10th round pick. So he believes a lot in Jonnu Smith, which is cool to see. But Keenan Allen as well with Ridley, Thielen, and Adams. His receiving core is nuts. Tariq Cohen there, as well as the Bears defense and Young Hoku. Then we have Darius Slayton, Latavius Murray, James White, Robbie Anderson, Daniel Jones, Sammy Watkins, and Eric Ebron. So solid bench. Definitely guys you can rotate in and out. But overall, I think there's a lot of just question marks on the team. Jonnu Smith was a pretty high reach. Tariq Cohen in the flex is a little bit scary. So we'll have to see what a lot of these other guys can do. Not the worst team you've ever seen in your life, but compared to other teams, I think that it's not really too great. But that's just, all for speculation based on how the season goes. We don't really know until it happens. Here we go with Hunter, the worst name team ever. He's had this name since the league started, and we've asked him to change it every year. He likes it. What are you going to do about it? Hunter, I know you're watching this. Shout out to you. Please change your name. But anyway, he has an interesting team. to say the least. He was bit by the running back bug. He had Leonard Fournette, who obviously is now on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 6 points is really his projected. But he took him in the 3rd round, and he didn't take another running back till Le'Veon. And then after that, it was a long waiting for running backs. He took a lot of different players. So that's really where his team fails at right now, is because of the lack of running back depth that he has. He has Russell Wilson, obviously, at the quarterback. Very good spot to have him. Le'Veon as your running back 1 is very, very, very scary. Even Leonard Fournette at my running back 1 would be very scary for me. With J.K. Dobbins as the 2, that's really hard to see. Even if you put Fournette in there, it still wouldn't look too much better. Tyreek Hill and Hopkins is an amazing number 1 and number 2 combo. That's a terrifying combo. You add Metcalf in there with Landry and Sanders. I mean, that's 5 very good receivers in a PPR format. So those are guys who are going to score you a lot of points. Darren Waller at the tight end position. I'm a very big Darren Waller fan as well, so I think he did very good there. Steelers defense, one of the better defenses. Justin Tucker, one of the better kickers as well. We have a kicker rule. That's why they're low points. They're not really they're never going to hurt you. They're just going to help you kind of thing. But then on the bench as well, we have Leonard Fournette, obviously, who we talked about. Gronkowski's there. Depending on how he plays, I'm not really sure if he's ever going to really see his team, but Waller's pretty much got that locked down. Mike Williams, he's hurt, but when you hold on to him, when he gets in the field, he might get you some. He picked up Raquel Armstead, who's out right now. So that was, kind of sucks for him to pick him up and then realize he's out. Garoppolo, Josh Gordon, and Darrell Williams. So bench is pretty rough to look at. To be honest, there's not really much there. Obviously, Leonard Fournette, if he ends up taking the Tampa Bay role over, is something to look at. Mike Williams went healthy. But yeah, other than that, it's pretty hard to look at on the bench. But the starting lineup, it's pretty solid. J.K. Dobbins is a really weak spot. Just off of the draft and what happened after the draft, I think that this is the worst team in the league right now. I'm sorry to say it. It's really just those running backs that hold it down. Those receivers help it a lot because of how good Tyreek and Hopkins and Landry, all these guys are going to be able to do for Hunter. Just having Le'Veon as a running back 1, you really are hoping for him to have a breakout year, and it just doesn't seem like it. Dobbins being the number 2 is really scary. If Fournette becomes a beast, what if Fournette goes down? If Le'Veon Bell goes down, let's say Le'Veon tears his ACL week 1. Hopefully not. I love Le'Veon. I love seeing him on the field. But J.K. Dobbins and Fournette are your running backs with Raquel Armstead as your only backup, really, because you're never going to play Darrell Williams. I just don't see it, man. I really don't. It's very poorly done. He's going to have to look for some trades. I was shipping running backs out, but genuinely, I just didn't see a value comparatively for me to trade a running back for one of these receivers unless it was for one of these top guys, and it just wouldn't have worked out. So I'm kind of happy with the T.Y. Hilton thing that I did. But yeah, so room to improve. He can get some running backs on the roster, maybe flip Jarvis or, package a deal with like Fournette and Williams to somebody for like a solid running back, I think there's definitely things there. Then we got my boy Griffin, my freshman roommate. Me and Griffin have a tough time together because me and him are always battling it out. We always pick up each other's players. We both think very alike in this, but he has a very good team, man. Deshaun Watson, Nick Chubb, and Miles Sanders. Just those 3 alone is insanely good. Then you follow it up with Michael Thomas, Amari Cooper, Stephon Diggs. I mean, it's a scary team, man. It really is. Austin Hooper at the tight end position. You hope that Cleveland can do it. They obviously haven't traded Njoku, so we don't know how the tight end position is going to be. You look at Brandon Cooks, Sterling Shepard, not the sexiest flex pieces, but they definitely can do some damage, I'd say, with Fairbairn and the Bills' defense. You look at his bench, a lot of guys where, hey, they can blow up. Laviska Shenault, if he has a good season. Bryce Love is slated to be that backup running back in Washington. You got Joe Burrow there as well, Cam Akers, Matt Breida, Marlon Mack, Blake Jarwin. I mean, these are guys who are going to be able to do a lot for you, especially down later in the season. So I think he's got a good setup here. Having only one backup receiver in Shenault's a little worrisome, but once Akers really develops that role, I think he'll slot him in there, and then you have Shepard as a backup if you need him, etc. I think it's a solid team. I really don't see any weak spots. The tight end position is a little worrisome, but you have Hooper and Jarwin. One of them is poised to break out, so that's good. Like I said, more wide receiver depth is really the only thing I can say, but other than that, I mean, this is a really good team. I think that he's put a really good team together, and he's a big guy. He always gets to the end of the playoffs, hasn't been able to win it yet, so we'll see how he does. Then we go over to our former biggest loser in Gareth Kwok. He was in first place until like week 8 and then didn't win a game after that. It was a crazy thing. He's looking to bounce back. He had the number 1 overall pick, and he ended up taking Matt Ryan, Christian McCaffrey, Kenyon Drake, Chris Godwin, Allen Robinson, and Robert Woods with Evan Ingram, Raheem Mostert, Cortland Sutton, Saints defense, and Greg Zuerlein. Definitely a really good starting lineup. Not really a weak spot there. Hopefully Mostert didn't ruin or burn any bridges in that holdout and that trade scenario. Because if Coleman gets the benefit of the snaps, a lot of people are going to get screwed over by that Mostert pick. But those 3 receivers, Godwin, Robinson, Woods, just low-key, successfully PPR-oriented guys who are really going to get you a lot of points. Evan Ingram, when healthy, is arguably a top 5 tight end in the league when healthy. Drake and McCaffrey, that's an amazing stack to have, an absolutely amazing stack to have. Then you look at his bench, too. He's got Higbee, who's a very good tight end. You got Jameson Crowder, who is, once again, another PPR guy in a pass-heavy offense right now. He also has Perriman for when he's healthy. Stafford as the backup quarterback, Preston Williams, Zach Moss, and Justin Jackson. So definitely a lot of guys who, he's going to see how they perform maybe week 1 or week 2, and then can flip around and go and spend somebody in free agency. I like the team a lot. I think he's set up in a great spot, especially coming off of last year. I don't think this is a team that's going to get last place at all as long as he keeps it up. So good for Gareth. Going on to our second to last team here, Ray Rice is the name of Trevor's team. Trevor's goofball. He had the number 2 overall pick, and it's his first year in the league. These next 2 teams are the first-year guys. Kyler Murray, Saquon Barkley, Aaron Jones, really good stack right there. I like those guys a lot. DJ Moore, Tyler Lockett, Marquise Brown. Very quick, very small guys, but they are going to get a lot of damage done. He follows it up with John Brown as well at the receiver spot. George Kittle picked him up. Is a really good tight end, obviously. So in PPR format, this is a very good setup to have for your offensive guys. He got Rojo. I think Rojo's going to keep the starting job at least for a while, so I'm happy for Rojo there. Packers defense, Will Lutz, and then the bench is really where I think he shined a lot too. He took chances on guys who maybe seem off, or it might have been a reach at the time, but I think it's going to pan off for him. He's got a guy in Deebo Samuel who, when he's healthy, he's going to be a beast. He's not healthy a lot. He's always had injuries throughout his career, but we'll see how that goes, especially when he's healthy. Slot him in there over John Brown or something. It'll be good. Mecole Hardman, Kansas City really likes having him be a big play guy. Sony Michel, maybe he wins the running back job over the other guys. Noah Fant at the tight end position for that bye week that George Kittle has. Other than that, you really don't need Fant. Aaron Rodgers, if Kyler Murray's not being what we all think he is, or maybe he has a bad matchup, you can look at Aaron Rodgers. He had A.J. Dillon, who could be a touchdown machine this year because of how big and powerful this guy is. And then obviously T. Higgins there. The running back, or not the running back, the receiver that they took in the early second round. He's wearing 85. It's definitely a blessing to have him there because he could blow up, especially with Joe Burrow, that rookie connection. So we'll see how that goes. Trevor, not a bad team at all, especially for being at the number 2 pick. Being able to get Saquon, Aaron Jones, and George Kittle all on one team together at that second pick is really good. And then last but not least, we got Brian, another newcomer to the league. And his team is really good. I really liked his team in the draft. He ended up with Lamar Jackson at the quarterback position, with Ezekiel Elliott and Kareem Hunt at the running backs. Obviously, could use another running back than Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt's more of a flex guy, but you look at the receivers. Kenny Golladay, really good. He kept falling in the draft. It was hard to see him fall, with Boyd and Gallup, as well as Travis Kelce. Devin Singletary's there with Henry Ruggs. Then you got Patriots defense and Harrison Butker on the bench. Philip Lindsay, Mike Gesicki, Mohamed Sanu. He's probably going to release him, obviously, because he's a free agent. Adrian Peterson, Chase Edmonds, Antonio Brown in case for whatever reason, and then Chris Thompson. So good pickup with Thompson. I like that because obviously he's probably going to be the starting running back. Chase Edmonds in case anything happens to Drake. Adrian Peterson just for the giggles. He drafted him as a Washington running back, so who have to go through and adjust. But, the bench is pretty lackluster. I think that's really where it's going to hurt him. But that starting roster, having Zeke, having Lamar, having Golladay, Kelce, it's a very solid, top-heavy team. If those guys can have those big weeks, it's really going to help them out. So I think that this is a solid team. It's going to take some depth pieces to kind of make it fully together. But overall, it's a pretty solid team. But without further ado, that is pretty much going to be for me. If you guys did enjoy looking over this league, if you guys want me to keep up with this league and talk to you guys more about it, let me know in the comment section below. Obviously, to the guys that are in the league, wish you the best. Hopefully, we have a good season as we always do. But for those of the viewers at home, if you guys did enjoy this video, please be sure to leave a like on it. If you didn't, just refresh the page, check it out again. Let me know what you think the second time. Make sure you subscribe, turn notifications on, do all that YouTube stuff. And without further ado, that's going to be for me. I'll see you guys in the next one.